All right, welcome back. Let's still continue with the discussion on President Muhammadu Buhari's ministerial list. And one group that is certainly not happy about it is the Center for Citizens with Disabilities. It's taking issues with the president and actually wants its members at least to be included. That's persons with disabilities now to be included on the list. It's certainly, that group, I must say, is certainly not taking things easy at all with the president. David Anyele, who is the executive director of CDD, that's the Center for Citizens with Disabilities, now joins me all the way from Abuja. David, thank you very much for joining us on the program. First off, what issue exactly does your organization have against the ministerial list?
Yeah, we commend the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, Federal Republic of Nigeria, His Excellency President Muhammadu Buhari, for signing into an act, Discrimination Against Persons with Disabilities Prohibition Act. Section 29 of the Act provides that all employers of labor must set aside 5% employment opportunity for people with disabilities. This 5% includes ministerial nominees, special advisors, special assistants, and other aides of the president, not only the president, the president of the Senate, the deputy Senate president, the speaker of the House of Rep, the deputy speaker House of Rep, and all the governors of the 36 states of the Federation, including speakers of the House of Assemblies across the Federation. We are concerned that this week, the president sent a list of ministerial nominees, 43 of them, at the exclusion of people with disabilities, recognizing that people with disabilities played active role in his electioneering campaign period. To the extent there is a committee on President Muhammadu Buhari, President Committee for People with Disabilities. And these guys followed him, all the news and craze of this country, mobilizing and gathering votes for him. And now it is time for reward, the time for them to participate in policy and decision of this country. In their support to his next level agenda, people with disabilities are excluded. And we are worried because what that means is that if we allow President Muhammadu Buhari to get away with this appointment exclusion, it's going to turn negatively to more than 25 million Nigerians with disabilities. Recognizing also that throughout the past 4 years, the president have, governed this country, all his policies, I said all his policies were made at the exclusion of people with disabilities, including the social safety net program of the president, including the poverty alleviation programs of the president. There is no indicator, there is no any data that supports that President Muhammadu Buhari recognizes that people with disabilities are living in this country, except the signing of the disability bill into an act. That is why we want to support him. We are calling on him to understand this gap, recognizing also that during the campaign, at the candidate town hall meeting, the president said, "I'm not aware." That was the word he used. And we don't want him not to be aware again. We are making him to be aware that he's excluding people with disabilities in his ministerial list. And we are calling on him to send 3 persons with disabilities competent that will support his next level agenda. And we also call on the National Assembly to allow them to take a bow when they come, so as to ensure equal opportunity and also that no one is left behind in governance.
Now, by not including anyone with disability on that list, do you think it's a discrimination against persons with disability?
It is a total discrimination against Nigerians with disabilities. This is an abuse of Section 1, Part 1 of the Discrimination Against Persons with Disability Prohibition Act, because it clearly states that no one, in fact, discrimination on the grounds of disability is prohibited by this act of the parliament. So it's a complete abuse of that section. It's also an abuse of Section 30 of the Discrimination Against Persons with Disabilities Prohibition Act, which provides that people with disabilities must be encouraged to participate in political activities of their country. That is why we are drawing his attention to this issue, because we don't know who is working for him around disability, and nobody we have seen that is speaking disability since his, his presidency since 2015. That is why we feel that it's important that we use this medium to call his attention to this issue and for him to take appropriate measure to close this gap, because it will be unfair that people with disability will toil around to gather vote for him. You know, at the end of the day, we see Babu they walk, monkey they chop. No. President Muhammad Buhari must, we use the word must, in obedience and compliance to the provision of the Disability Act, you know, to ensure that people with disabilities are not discriminated in the ministerial list.
But other than the ministerial appointment, don't you think there is a chance that the president might consider appointing persons with disabilities now into other positions other than ministerial appointment?
The ministerial appointment is strategic for us. The ministerial appointment is the best of the appointments that we are expecting because it creates opportunity and avenue for us to be at the policy table. Absence of persons with disabilities in the Federal Executive Council of President Muhammad Buhari means that every policy of the government are going to be designed at the exclusion of people with disabilities. And it is when people with disabilities are at the policy table discussing the policy of his government that they will take measure to draw attention of other members of the Executive Council on their policies and its implication to people with disabilities. We are talking about participation. We are talking about equal opportunity. We are talking about leave no one behind. And there is no way we are going to achieve this if we don't have people with disabilities as members of the Executive Council of President Muhammad Buhari government. Other than that, we're not going to, if you appoint someone as a special assistant takes permission from the permanent secretary or minister before he conducts anything. A special assistant does not have budget. A special assistant does not contribute to policy document. A special assistant does not attend Federal Council, Executive Council meeting. So it's more or less you are not part of the game. So we are saying that we want to be at the policy table. We want to be part of the policy design so as to ensure that the blind, the deaf, the albinos, the Down syndrome, the spinal cord injured, the physically challenged are not left behind in government policies and programs. Deji, you need to know this. We conducted a survey on access to public infrastructure in this country. Our findings shows that more than 99.5% of government infrastructures in this country are not accessible to people with disabilities. It's as bad as that. So when you see that kind of situation, when are we going to make amend? When we don't have people with disabilities who will be around the policy seat to guide other members of the Executive Council to draw a policy that is not discriminatory on the grounds of disability. These are the issues we are talking about. And don't forget that no one is immune from getting disability, including members of the Executive Council. So that when it occurs, there is a provision that will be made that will protect them. So that when it occurs, they will not be discriminated. So that when it occurs, they will be able to participate equally with members of other members of the Executive Council meeting so as to ensure that they continue to design policy that will protect the most vulnerable of the vulnerable social group, the most marginalized of the marginalized group in this country. That is our position.
Now, don't you think it might be more reasonable for your group to begin to push for some kind of constitutional amendment so that, it is reflected in the Constitution that a president or a governor now must be required by the Constitution to appoint certain number of persons with disabilities into his cabinet? I mean, that way, that might just be more effective. And if you have that in the Constitution, then the president would have no choice, or a governor too would have no choice than follow what the Constitution states. So maybe that's what your group should actually be pushing for right now. Get the National Assembly to actually do this.
Yeah, it is also a tool or avenue to achieving sustainable, implementation of this, our core. We are going to take that route, but also the act of the parliament. I'm talking about Discrimination Against Persons with Disability Prohibition Act, which have already specified in section 29 that all employment in this country, all employers of labor, public institutions, must assign 5% for people with disabilities. It's an act of the parliament. And we are asking...
You're quite right. It's an act of parliament. But in this case, the act did not specifically say the kind of appointment or employment that we're talking about. So the president can actually appoint a person with disability tomorrow as a special advisor or senior special assistant. He would still be acting in conformity with the law.
Yeah, but what we are saying is that it is the obligation of the state, especially the government that signed this act, to demonstrate goodwill and in good faith in ensuring that he implements this act to the letter. It is only President Muhammad Buhari is going to send a signal to all that this act is important, that this is the best way to interpret it. Because when we say that employment, ministerial appointment is an employment. Special assistants, special advisors, they are all employment. And if you are hiring and recruiting people to work for you at the level of the public office, we are demanding for 5%. And that 5% include at least 3 persons from the 43 he has already nominated. We're asking, add additional 3 persons to join the team. And these people are not just coming there to come and, chop and go. These people are coming to contribute. These people are coming with their technical know-how that will support him to achieve his next level agenda. It is not a charity. It is not for food for the boys. No. We are saying that these people should not be left behind, that their capacity and capabilities must not be allowed to, to while away, that government should take measure to honor its obligation in line with the provisions of the Discrimination Against Persons with Disabilities Prohibition Act by setting aside this 5% has been set aside in the act. And it is the President Muhammad Buhari that should demonstrate that it is possible to achieve this. That is why we are saying, why using Constitution to do further strengthening of this particular provision, the Disability Act should be respected, the Disability Act should be implemented, the Disability Act should be respected, especially the government that signed into an act. If President Muhammad Buhari did not implement this act, who will implement it? Knowing fully well he is the one that signed it. This is our position.
David Daniele, Executive Director, Center for Citizens with Disabilities. Thank you very much for joining us on the program. Now, we've been speaking with a cross-section of Nigerians on this ministerial list, and it would interest you what they've had to say. Just take a listen.
I think that the list is very exciting prospects in the sense that the president seems to have chosen people who are seasoned politicians for great part. And if you follow the process that seems to have occurred here, there seems to be a discipline towards what has emerged. Firstly, there are many filters that is used. The first filter is a filter of what he regards as acceptable performance of the ministers of his first administration. If you go and look at the process that was used, there was a presidential audit committee utilized to identify performance. Then the second filter has to be political. Who are the people who contributed to his political victory? And that is his discretion to do that. The third thing is the things that concern also about performance of those people. Can those people handle the office of the minister? The office of the minister is largely a political office. It is nothing other than a political office, in the sense that you have to be a person that is capable of directing the affairs of that office, follow government policy, and provide strategic direction. And so there are political competencies that you have to have in that office. The fourth thing is the issues that concern most of us: age, gender, and there seems to be an effort to address age, in the sense that the list of ministers show an age span from about late 40s to mid 60s, largely, which is a slight improvement on the first cadre of ministers. Gender, there seems to be a gender representation of over 10 to 15%, which seems to be a starting point. So looking at it overall, he's trying to deal with a lot of things. Something that should be his discretion is trying to make sure that he pleases other people at the same time. So I think for all that, nobody can win completely in that kind of environment. And I think he's done the best he can do.
Okay. The president told us from the beginning that he's going to appoint those whom he knows. And from the list, it's those he knows that he has appointed. He's not going to appoint strangers. What we should pray for is a change of heart for whatever reason. If you have been there before, you know you did not do work. Now that you have another opportunity, try and immortalize your name. We're not going to bring men from Mars to come and do this job here. It is Nigerians who use. But we not the Nigerians who have that heart to want to help this government. And I think it's the second chance he has given to most of them. And I trust and I believe they will do justice to the appointments.
The president has done his job, and he's the one who is empowered by the constitution to do his job. So he has done his job. There was a time the list was not there. They were complaining. The man has brought the list, and they are still complaining. So I think that the people should allow the president to rule, to do his job, and not just be criticizing every move of the president. No, I do not agree with that. I am on his side, and I support what he's doing.
Well, we'll take a short break now, and when we come back, we'll switch from politics to issues of education. Stay with us. On Deji 360, we don't just ask the questions. What is wrong with amending the Constitution the way the National Assembly members have been doing it? We seek answers.
Constitution is constituent. Our problem is not lack of laws. Our problem is lack of the willpower to implement our laws.
Answers that provide clarity.
While we negotiate, we should try to make it a point that the girls must be complete.
The clarity you need to make informed judgment so that you can make the right decision and take action. People are saying it is you politicians that are responsible for this, that you are the reason why this is happening.
All these dollars that call themselves governors in this country.
I wish we had people like Tony at the National Assembly.
God forbid that I go to join that panel.
Deji 360, providing clarity to issues.